Welcome to Backstage with the Anglophile. Well, the wait is finally over. Finally, the moment the Armitage Army has been waiting for months. They've been waiting for this interview with the Anglophile Channel's favorite British Artist of the Year award winner, Mr. Richard Armitage.
Thank you.
Applause all around, Richard.
I actually thought that said least favourite British artist of the year.
Oh gosh, you know what? Wrong cue card. Wrong cue card. Least favorite.
Least favourite.
That's okay.
Thank you. I'll take that.
We need another 2 months to re-engrave the award. Is that okay?
Yeah.
First of all, I have to say, immense amount of responsibility I feel sitting in this chair, because you have fans all around the world, and they're all watching. And I'm sitting next to. Okay, so we have to go to the. Okay, I said Armitage right, didn't I?
You did.
I did.
A lot of people Frenchify it.
The last time a reporter said Armitage right, you about kissed them.
Yeah.
You almost leapt across
the
cameras to kiss
often,
them. Apparently,
so.
that's not going to happen in LA.
Thank you.
So listen, the directive from your fans has been,
yes,
do not ask him the same boring questions that he's had to answer over and over again. Are you ready?
Yes.
So we're going to have to make this juicy, Richard,
okay,
because your fans are watching.
Juicy questions.
Okay, so as you know, we're the Anglophile Channel. We're all about everything British entertainment. And we had a fan vote for the favorite British Artist of the Year award at the end of the year. And thousands of fans voted in a field that included Benedict Cumberbatch, Tom Hiddleston, Colin Firth, David Tennant, and yourself. And they voted daily, and they voted on Christmas Day. I mean, Christmas Day, I'm checking and people are up on Christmas Day voting for Richard.
Drunk.
You must be overwhelmed how far-reaching your fandom is.
Always. I'm always overwhelmed and very appreciative, I have to say. And thank you for coming out on Christmas Day and casting a vote. And I'm sorry if your hand slipped past David Tennant and accidentally clicked on me.
So after you won, a ton of them sent in video messages, which we're hopefully going to show you from all around the world, and fan mail. We got fan mail. You're going to interview Richard Armitage, and we have questions to ask him. So this poster, I want to bring you to this poster. It's created by, I'm going to get it wrong, Sheba Kunhimon from Malaysia. She sent this in. She runs the Thorin Verabor fan page.
I see that there, yeah. I nearly wore the same shirt. I was just saying,
and
thank goodness I didn't.
We think you should have. I did watch a lot of your Hobbit interviews. I watched a lot of the press junkets. And you were asked the same question over and over again. How do you keep those interviews fresh?
I have to be honest, I'm always very entertained by the personality that comes into the room, because
like me.
Well, like you. I mean, and also when you're in different countries, the personalities really change. So,
right.
Obviously, here in America, there's a huge amount of enthusiasm and animation, and then you go to another country, which we won't mention, and it's very, very low key. But I find it very entertaining. And I'm always kind of fascinated to give them, my reflection of their personality. When someone comes in and says, so tell me about The Hobbit, and they've got 5 minutes, I will be like, right, well, the book starts and...
So tell me about The Hobbit.
Well, on page one...
How long were you in New Zealand shooting The Hobbit?
I thought you said you weren't going to ask me.
I know. No, okay, don't get over it. This is for me.
I think we were there for about 18 months in total, but we broke for different periods of time and came back to the UK. But in total, 18 months, so enough time to give birth to 2 children.
Oh, and did you?
I didn't personally, but there were
Can we get an exclusive, please?
There were Hobbit kids born, and I think they're adults now, but they're in high
going
school.
to college, good.
Yeah.
So what was it like when The Hobbit ended? I mean, you must have formed a family, tight-knit, all of that. What was it when you had to say goodbye? Ended? Are you still shooting it?
No, well, nobody really knows. There's rumours flying around, some of which have been started by Ian McKellen, that we may be going back. I don't know. But we start doing this again to talk about the DVD release, which is in sometime in March.
I should know that. You should know that. Tell me when it is.
I think it's about the 28th of March.
About the 28th of March, okay.
Around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But it's you can never get tired of it. And really, for me, for my character, the third part of this story, the third film, is the most exciting. So re-energizing myself to talk about that is something I'm looking forward to.
So can you tell us anything about it now? What can we expect from There and Back Again?
From my perspective, with Thorin, it's really expect the unexpected, because he really flips out. I mean, the gold sends him crazy, and he's heading down a path that, if you've read the book, you know how it ends.
Is it Thorin or Torin?
If you're Norwegian, I think it's Thorin.
Okay.
But as you're
Thorin.
not, you can say Thorin.
Thorin. See, I
Thorin.
can roll my R's. So, are you going to be singing?
Can you roll your R's?
Absolutely, I'm Latina. Part. So, are you going to be singing in The Hobbit 3? You've got a great, rich voice. Your fans love your voice.
Yeah, in the third part of the film, Thorin goes into a recording studio and releases an album. That's
Awesome.
That's the part of the story that you...
And the dwarves become like a boy band.
I would love that. How brilliant would that be if we...
Do you guys become like a boy band?
There's like 13 of us all trying to do the same moves. But,
Musical numbers? I hope so. Let's turn it into
like
a music.
a dwarf chorus line.
The Hobbit the Musical. You're absolutely unrecognizable in real life as you are as the character Thorin, right?
Yeah.
But so how does that hinder you as an actor? Does that help you as an actor? Do you like it? You know, do casting directors say, get me the guy from The Hobbit, and you walk in?
It's a bit of both, actually. I never really quite understood how difficult it is for people to visualize you other than how they've seen you. But having said that, it was the best part of saying yes to this role for me, because I love that physical transformation. All through drama school, I played roles that I had most fun when I was completely unrecognizable. I played Uriah Heep in drama school. I played a female brothel keeper in a Shakespeare play.
Really?
Who was from New York. And
I love it.
And you know, half of my contemporaries in my year didn't know it was me until about halfway through the play. And I kind of enjoy that type of transformation, but it is a challenge to shake it off.
But as an actor, that's brilliant, isn't it? I mean, to be able to lose yourself in a character like that, that's what you want.
It is a lot of fun, and you feel a little bit of a fake at the beginning, because you think this is all someone else's work. They're putting this wig on me and this different face on me. But then when you look at yourself in the mirror, it's you don't recognize what you look like, and so
Right.
mentally you start to adjust. Doing that without all of the gear is the next challenge, I suppose.
Right.
Yeah.
There are stars out there, and I won't name any names, that you go to their movies and you can't get past their celebrity.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it's sometimes you don't need all of the decoration. You don't need a change of voice or a change of walk or physicality to actually still not recognize yourself.
Right.
You know, and especially when you watch it back, there's so much of the stuff I do, I don't recognize myself in it. But
That's good.
it's the bit that I like to do.
That's good, yeah, exactly. Did they know your work from Robin Hood and MI5? Did they know?
For
For Hobbit.
It's something I tried to ask Peter during the filming, but he never really told me. I think a lot of British television does get aired in New Zealand. I do think they'd seen North and South. I can't see how watching
That would
Robin Hood would have helped them, or MI5 would have helped them get to Thorin. But I don't know. It's sometimes it's just one. It's just one thing. So, but yeah, you get called in to meet, and yeah, we spent an hour and a half working.
Really?
One casting.
Really.
For a role like that was.
And were they considering like Brad Pitt for the role? You know, did you oust Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise?
I don't know. I'm sure. I know when it came to other roles, the people that they were discussing were jaw-dropping in terms of their profiles.
Oh.
So yeah, I consider myself extremely lucky.
Good for you. I came in and put my glasses on. This is very embarrassing. Okay. Oh my God! It's Richard Armitage.
Me. Hi.
Where's Colin Firth? I thought he won the award. For gosh sakes. Sukrita Prasad from India. She says, Richard, are you aware that you have fans in India who've never been to England, do not have access to British channels, yet they've seen all your work in India?
That's mind-blowing.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. I guess, are they watching on the internet? They must be. You can kind of watch anything anywhere now, can't you?
They're watching you.
Maybe they're just channeling
They're watching. They find you, they watch
in
it.
meditation.
So what do you think of the whole social networking thing? Twitter, Facebook, I mean, there's 1,000 Facebook pages dedicated just to you. I'm sure you run half of them, but there's...
I got left behind. I really got left behind.
You don't tweet, you don't Facebook, you don't do any of that.
We're talking about maybe tweeting at some point, or Twitter. By the time I get around to it, though, it will have been
Tweeting.
It will be all over. I mean, I'm still thinking about MySpace, and everyone's like, MySpace, that's just gone.
That's so 1992.
It's so 92. I don't know. I might do. My worry is that I'll get drunk and start, being political
that's
or
what we
trying
hope
to be
for.
funny.
Absolutely.
Who wants to know what my opinion of anything is? I mean,
I think the fandom likes it when they feel like they have some sort of, I don't know, connection or access to their favorite artists.
the way I see it, I always feel like it's, if I were a painter and I painted a picture, would I stand in front of it going, right, here's the picture that I painted? Do you know what I mean? I feel
Yes.
like I want just the picture to be seen.
Exactly.
And you don't really want to see how it's painted. Maybe
Right.
you do. I don't know.
I don't know.
But you certainly don't want someone standing in front of it giving it this.
Exactly. It can be intrusive, right? Benedict Cumberbatch talked about some neighbor actually tweeting his every move. Now he's going into the bathroom, now he's reading TV Guide, now he's
That's
having
Benedict, though. I mean,
fish
come
and
on.
chips.
I mean,
So persnickety, my God.
I don't think people would be that interested in my movements.
Okay, so let's go back to your childhood. Well,
Okay.
not that far, but Richard, when you were
therapy.
born,
It's therapy.
tell us, release yourself. I want you to cry like Barbara Walters gets everybody to cry.
Does she?
Yeah, haven't you
Okay.
watched? So cry. Oh, I did it. So what? You come from a non-performing family, right?
Yes, I do.
So what inspired you? What propelled you into performing arts?
That's a really good question.
Was there something that inspired you?
I think I used to do tap dancing classes because a lot of the kids that I played with in the street went to a class, so I ended up in that area of work. But at 4 years old, it's not really work, is it? And then I found myself wanting to branch into theatre. So I went to a vocational school and I trained in musical theatre and worked in that side of the industry for a while.
Right.
But I'd always been a big reader, and I was somebody that read quite intensely on my own. Tolkien was one of those books that inspired me to sort of fire up my imagination. And I was just always into literature, and I studied Shakespeare for my A-levels and went to the Royal Shakespeare Company to see plays, and I was like, that's what I want to do. So finally, at the age of 19, I went to a drama school. You,
Mr. Armitage, went to Budapest and joined a circus
Yeah.
because there were no other opportunities to earn your equity card?
I did. The fans are going to kill you. 'Cause this is one of those questions.
Listen, for the two people out there that don't know you did this.
Yeah, it was a short job. It was, I think, maybe 4 months. I was throwing hula hoops, working with jugglers,
Were you a flying Wallenda?
doing a bit of this, bit of
Kind of like a
mime.
trapeze artist?
Yeah. So yeah, but I got an equity card.
That's awesome.
Alongside lots of commercials castings where I remember one in particular where they gave me it was for some kind of drink, and they gave me a watermelon and cut a hole in it and said, okay, snog the melon. So I had to kiss the melon. And then sort of left the casting, and there's like a whole room full of guys. And I remember walking out thinking there was only one melon in that room.
Right, and you were all kissing the same
All
melon.
sticking our tongue in this
Oh,
hole
well,
in a
that's
melon.
just not. Oh, okay, you know
Welcome
what?
to
That's a little.
showbiz. And it was, snog the melon.
I would have given you 10 equity cards to see that.
I would have taken 10 melons and 10 guys. That would have been fine.
Okay, so look, you got your equity card in hand. Brilliant, brilliant. And you end up in the West End doing musical theater.
Yes.
And Cats was amongst them.
Yes,
And you played Macavity.
I did.
Which
yes.
I absolutely love. You know, there's a YouTube video out there, and somebody sat like, in the last row of the balcony and got like a shot of you, so it's grainy and blurry and everything.
I don't think it's me.
Oh, what? Don't tell them that.
I don't think it's me. I mean, I've got to be honest with you guys.
It's not you.
There were a million people. Well, not a million. There's a lot of people all playing the same roles over the years.
Right.
And even in the show, there were 5 people that played Macavity because he appears in they do this magic thing where he appears.
I don't think this clip is of you as Macavity. I think you're, like cat number 24 from the left. I don't know.
I don't think I'm in that
So-
at all, if I'm honest.
Darn. Okay.
Sorry.
So, Cats. I must have seen it a dozen times.
It was of the
What
80s, wasn't it?
The heck is that show? What is that show about?
Well, Good question, but it is, you know, being the literary fanatic that I was, it was based on T.S. Eliot's great poetry, and I still go back to the poetry. You know, if you look at that song that was such a massive hit, Memory, which isn't in the book of Practical Cats, it's not part of that, it's part of
Andrew
a different...
Lloyd didn't write the book.
He didn't write the lyrics to that, but that was, that's from a different poem, and I think it's The Wasteland. But the lyrics to the lyrics to the song, but the poetry in those lines are extraordinary. And I think it was one of those experiments whereby someone took the poetry, and Gillian Lynn had a fantastic idea to create a show based around, you know, the physicality of animals through dance, and it created this show that stayed for years. I actually think the same thing is happening in motion capture now. You know, if you look at motion capture performances, it's using human beings to replicate animals. Look at Planet of the Apes, you know, the new apes movies. It's a similar kind of thing. Yeah. That's something that I'd be really interested in looking into. I was really keen to go and work at Lecoq in Paris after I'd finished in Cats, and Gillian Lynn was one of the people that suggested I do that, but actually ended up going. What did she do? She just was helping me out and giving me some advice, and I think she'd trained there for a while. So. But when I was at Lambda, I worked with an amazing movement director who's sadly died now, called Christian Daly, who was Lecoq based. And that was the direction I really wanted to go into, which was physical theatre. So I still have a desire to do that.
Interesting. I love that. So you've obviously moved to the States, and you're located in New York, not sunshiny LA. That's okay.
Yes,
we're not offended.
Wintry, snowy New York.
So have you moved to New York because you want to pursue Broadway, or are you just open to television, film, anything that comes your way?
Yeah, there's nothing that I don't say yes to. I say yes to everything.
Clearly, you're here with the Anglophone channel.
We're here.
Apparently he says yes to everything.
But, yes.
And we love you for it. Thank you so much.
I think obviously the work is kind of gathering speed in the film industry, but at the same time I don't want to deny myself the opportunity to do theatre. So New York for me means that I could perhaps work on stage in New York and also back in London, which is a strong possibility.
The thing that I love about British actors, you know, is that their artistry is rooted in theatre. You know, and you don't see a lot of that maybe in TV stars or film stars. Don't email me. You know, with British actors, your artistry really begins in the theater. So you're theater trained, and it shows. To me, it shows up on the screen. And I love that you can be a major film star, and they still go back and do a play like Sir Ian McKellen.
Yeah, I mean, and I think with Ian, it's where the root of his you know heart is, his artistic heart. It does mean that we, I guess, have a focus on the text in a way that perhaps other actors don't. But I don't know. I only know the world of acting through the way I approach it and the route that I come through, which is primarily physical and then literary. So that's how I build a character. And also without a script, I find it very difficult to work without a script. I have to use either a book or a real person, in order to do that.
Interesting. One fan had written something about what is your process in terms of creating a background for your character. So if the script doesn't feed you the information that you need, do you in your imagination then create the history for your character?
Yes, and it's also, I think when it's unlimited, it becomes much more difficult. The more restrictions you have, the more walls you have, and the smaller the world, it actually is easier to fill it. So that's why I like working from a book, because the book begins and it ends, and it's, you know, your character begins and ends in the book, unless it's lots of books on the same character. But I write stuff, and I use photographs and music as well, because I think music, artwork, if you listen to a piece of music, you can probably remember where you were when you listen to it, and
memories.
It's Proustian. It brings back everything, you know. So I use that a lot.
It does, absolutely. So you did Elizabeth Gaskell's North and South.
I did.
Okay,
yes.
We're going to talk about North and South. Come on. Where you out-Darcy'd Colin Firth. Can I just say that? It's sacrilegious, I know. But you did.
Thornton didn't get wet,
and
did he?
No, you know what? We missed the wet shirt scene. Where was that? Can we do that now? Does anybody have a water bottle? How much would you fans pay to see this man in a wet shirt? So overnight you become this instant what? Okay, it's not the fans, it's me. What do you expect from me? So overnight you become this instant heartthrob, you know, and, you know, what did you think of that? And do you like doing those sort of romantic, you know, leading men type?
It's so interesting how it was received to how it felt from the inside, because I actually saw the guy as somebody who was kind of terrible in what he did until the end of the piece. He was so kind of stifled and restricted in his world and blinkered in his views. But I suppose the unraveling of that character is something that was appealing. But I remember hearing about the casting for that and driving down to my local bookshop very late, just before it closed, and grabbing the last copy and reading the little blurb on the back and just knowing that I had to play it. I hadn't even read the book, and I just read the little thing, and I just thought, I can do this, I can totally do this. But convincing them to cast me was really quite a challenge.
Really?
Yeah.
What had you done up until then? You know, was
not a great deal, actually. I'd done a bit of daytime television. I'd done guest roles in things, but it took a lot. It took bravery in the casting department to cast me. But you know, those roles come to you in that way. I mean, in a way, Thorin came to me in a similar way. Great people.
Let's ask one or two more. Okay, this is from Elisa Cato, administrator of Richard Armitage, is Majesty, Kindness, and Perfection.
Did you just say His Majesty?
Yeah, that's the name of the the name of the
sorry.
Facebook page. That's a lot to live up
This is
to.
not getting it.
Okay. Do you like Jane Austen? And if so, which of Jane Austen's characters would you like to play, gentlemen?
I do. We went through a period at drama school of studying Jane Austen, and I was moonlighting one Christmas in Panto in Bognor Regis to earn money so that I could go back to drama school the next year. And I read all of Jane Austen's novels in the dressing room. I was playing Genie of the Lamp, so I wasn't on stage very often. And then we went back and did excerpts from I think we did Pride and Prejudice, weirdly enough. It was I was Darcy. We were doing one of those funny Jane Austen-y dances where you have to walk and talk at the same time. That was our challenge for that term, walk and talk. But yeah, I love Northanger Abbey. I think that's the Gothic, the Gothic one. I liked that, the darkness in that story. But she manages to capture humour in a way that I think some of the other writers of that period don't quite get.
And what I love about her too is that despite the fact that she never married, she wrote men so well.
Well, often they're written as perhaps two-dimensional, aspirational characters. I think Gaskell's the same. Gaskell really got inside the mind of a man of that period. You know, not just the male mind, but the male mind of that period. And yeah, Jane Austen does the same.
Marsha Killingsworth, who runs Richard Armitage US fan page. She says you've just done Into the Storm. That's your next project that will be coming out later this year. And you do an American accent.
I do.
And Marsha would like to know.
You're not going to ask me to do it.
Would you do an American accent? Do you have a number where she can call you and then she can...
We take that movie to CinemaCon at the end of March.
Oh,
which
really?
I'm really excited about. And then we present it at Comic-Con.
Comic-Con in San Diego.
Yeah, in San Diego this year. So yeah, I think it's on release on August the 8th.
Excellent.
And,
so we can expect from that movie. It's a storm movie, and you're in a lot of rain. Tell me about the movie.
We're in a lot of wind and rain, and it's a special effects film, but it doesn't really look like, you know, a huge amount of special effects. A lot of the weather looks real, and I think weather is something quite difficult to create digitally. But we shot in Detroit, which was an extraordinary experience, going to that town and seeing, you know, how that place has changed and decayed. So I found it quite a moving place to be. But yeah, hopefully it will do well. Okay,
so and you have an audiobook coming out, yeah?
I do,
You did a recording of Hamlet.
Yeah, it's not Shakespeare's Hamlet.
Right.
It's based on that story. There are little moments of the language that Shakespeare
So none of the
uses.
speeches, none of that?
It's occasionally the writers just tease a few of those in. But yeah, it's a novel based on that story, and all of the all of the other stories that you don't see during the play, which I found fascinating. So
really?
you see Hamlet go to England and see Rosencrantz and Guildenstern go there, and he gets attacked by pirates. You see what happens to Ophelia behind closed doors. So yeah, it was interesting.
Oh, brilliant!
Really difficult doing Ophelia's voice for sort of a whole chapter. There's a chapter where she reads.
Can you give us a little bit? Give us a little bit.
I'm
Come
not
on.
going to do it. No, because you have to buy.
Paid my money.
Have to buy the book.
I want to see this.
It was hard.
Give us a teaser.
Because I'd sort of seen her as a 17-year-old girl, which is fine for a few lines. But when I was reading like a whole letter, and she gets very angry, and of course when I get angry, my voice goes very
down.
deep.
Oh, okay.
So Ophelia suddenly was becoming like
that's
old
a whole
Ophelia.
Nother show.
Yeah, it's a whole other show. Yeah.
So is it true you were named after Richard III?
It is true, yes. I was born on the 22nd of August, which
The
is
day
when
of his demise.
he died at Battle of Bosworth.
So you have affinity to that historical character. Do you want to play him on stage, or do you want to have a film project made out of his story?
He's never really far from my head when it comes to assembling some kind of visual documentation of his life. I think he deserves a cinematic outing, that story. I think it's an extraordinary tale. I think The Wars of the Roses is extraordinary. You know, the last British monarch, English monarch to die on the battlefield in combat, and actually a noble death, and a misinterpreted character, I think. But that's the reason to go exploring, because we don't really know. Yeah, I don't know whether I'll get to play him in a movie, but I'll certainly have a crack at him on stage. Yeah.
Would you write the script? Have you written the script?
I'm not much of a writer. I'm good at adapting other people's writing. But yeah, the assembling of ideas and gathering people together on a table is something that is my long-term goal. Over the next 30 years, I think I'll probably be acting less and producing more.
Into producing. Would you like to direct?
If someone will give me a decent brain, a smart brain, I would like to direct actually. Although I just think people, that other people would do it better than I would. But I'd like to certainly direct actors. I think I could bring a performance out of somebody. I would know how to make them feel comfortable and relaxed and inspired to deliver something that they hadn't done before, because directors have done that to me. So.
I think directors that have been actors are probably some of the best, because they know what you're going through, they know what the process is, they know how to pull it out of their actors. So I think
they often surround themselves with great DOPs and they can focus on the work in hand. So yeah, perhaps. Yeah.
So do you get starstruck? People get starstruck over you. Is there anyone that makes you starstruck?
Always. I always get starstruck. Yeah.
Who? Who would you like to meet?
I think the last person I got starstruck with was probably, I think it was Orlando Bloom, who's now a mate. Actually.
Orlando, yeah, I was going to say.
But the first time you meet that person, you're like, oh, it's you from that movie, and oh look, we're both wearing silly costumes, and I'm going to deliver a line to you now. So, yeah.
That's exciting.
But always.
It'd be like me getting to work with you. That would be really exciting.
In a silly costume.
Exactly, in a silly costume. I'm working with Richard Armitage. Oh my God. So who would be your ideal leading lady? Do you have one?
Gosh, that's a very good one. I've always been a huge fan of Janet McTeer.
Oh God, she's brilliant, isn't she?
She's really amazing, and gosh, Sally Dexter, Fanny Ardant, do you know her?
Yeah, okay.
Tilda Swinton, oh God.
Tilda's great.
Millions.
Kate Blanchett, she's lovely. Who do you think is going to win the Oscars this weekend? Do you have a favorite?
Well, of course, I'm kind of rooting for the Brits. I'm rooting for Chewie.
I know, Chiwetel. He's brilliant in 12 Years a Slave. Did you love it?
Extraordinary performance, really.
It really was heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
It just...
And he's doing the kind of work that we all dream about doing. But the same with Michael Fassbender in that movie as well.
Yeah.
You look at the quality of that work, and you think that's something to aspire to.
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly. We spoke to Steve McQueen. We've spoken to Chiwetel, and just getting their process and what was it like, and how important was that story to tell, and just as an actor again to be in that moment, recreating that intensity just must have been, when you lose yourself in a character like that, is it hard to come back?
I don't know whether I've been as deep as something, in something so harrowing as Chewie was, but in that particular film, although I think the closest I've ever got to that was being waterboarded for spooks, whereby you find yourself in an acting situation where you are genuinely panicked and terrified, and you think your mind has to be focused on, I'm just acting, this isn't real, but all of your emotions are hyper real. So and it's short lived, but I get little flashbacks of that.
And one fan said that, is it true that you have a phobia of water, or did you have
I do, and I still, every job I ever do.
So I can't take you on a cruise then?
You can, I just don't ask me to dive into the sea. But every job I've ever done, a water moment, which was not in the script when I read it, comes into the rewrites, and I'm like, there it is. It's
incredible.
There. It's this always looming for me.
So it's Oscar week, like I said. Are there any directors that you'd like to work with? You know, because we know all of them. So do you want to give a shout out to Spielberg?
There are, I mean, so many, and all of them actually are up there again. I mean, I think Alexander Payne does extraordinary work. I think David O. Russell does extraordinary work. Steve McQueen is amazing. I'd love to work with Michael Haneke as well, and David Fincher,
Excellent.
Great people.
Okay, one more question. Deborah Edward, who runs Richard Armitage Central. Are you a morning person or a night person? Oh, here's one from Madagascar.
Am I a morning person or a night person? Do you know what? I'm definitely not a morning person. I'm the night person. I think it comes from working in the theatre, actually. I get all my inspiration at night. I sort of wake up at 3 in the morning and start scribbling and writing.
Last question. All right, from Beta Landavia from Germany. She wants to know, at what point, what project would it be where you'll walk away and say, that's it, I've achieved my goals, my dreams have come true, I'm done, call it a day?
I kind of thought I'd just done it, actually. I thought The Hobbit might have been it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't think there ever will be one, because I think there's always more to mine from your own instrument, if we want to call it that. And as we get older, you just feel differently about the work that you do. So I'm moving into a whole different territory of casting now, of different characters that were never available to me before, and you think, God, I've never played that before. So that's what keeps you going.
I think for an actor, especially Maggie Smith will prove this, for an actor it just never ends, right? I mean, there's always another project, there's always more work to be done.
Well, it was one of the reasons as well why I definitely moved out of musical theatre, because this area of work, it's a little bit like wine. Hopefully the older we get, the more, body and flavour.
Absolutely, better. Absolutely, we're really good. So I have to show you one of the fan videos. Juliet's going to show you. Shall we hit play? Okay, this is after you won Favorite British Artist of the Year.
Hi, Richard. We're here in Spain, in A Coruña, northwest called Galicia, and we're here to celebrate that you won the Anglophile Channel Award 2013 British Artist of the Year, and we love you in Spain so much, and actually we love you with passion. Yay! And we're gonna celebrate actually that you won doing something that you probably like a lot, which is having some chocolate ice cream. Oh yeah, so to you, Richard, we love you. Bye. Look at
Hi Richard, congratulazioni, congratulations, siamo molto fieri di te. We're so proud of you. Gemma and Alisa from Italy.
How cool is that?
Are they adorable?
Do you know what? The picture that the two Spanish ladies held up, it looks like they've been smacking him in the face. It looks like
he's bruised.
Yeah.
Okay, Richard, so now, so you can't see all of them today, of course, but they're all here on DVD. I promised the fans that you would absolutely get a copy of their fan messages. Just ignore the woman hosting the show, that's me.
That's really kind of you.
Watch their messages, and if you have anything that you want to write back to me that I can send on to the fans, these people just love you with such an amazing amount of dedication and passion.
Thank you very much. That's
really
lovely.
it really is impressive. So, and now, do the award presentation. Okay, tears.
Are you welling up?
Right, yes, I am welling up. Oh, you know what? You said in an interview that all you wanted for Christmas was this little...
A bop.
Yeah.
Is it a bop?
A bop. It's not a bobblehead, right?
A pop.
He doesn't...
A pop. There you go, that's my American accent.
So it's Thorin, that's him.
Pop.
Pop. Pop.
Pop. Pop.
So this is Thorin in a bop. That doesn't look like you at all. It looks like a semi. samurai soldier. I don't know, but this is for you.
love it.
Merry
He's got the same
belated Christmas.
intensity in his eyes.
Yeah, he
This
does.
is very good.
All right, so
Thank you very
now
much.
we're going to present the award, Mr. Richard Armitage. It is my great pleasure. Fans from all over the world, 30 plus countries, it was crazy, voted day and night for you to receive this award against a heavy hitter field. And it's my pleasure to present Richard Armitage with the Anglophile Channel's Favorite British Artist of the Year award.
Thank you very
Lovely.
much. Bless you. Thank you. I'd like to say thank you to everyone that voted for Favourite British Artist of the Year 2013. It's really lovely to receive this. I've never actually received anything before other than a little trophy that I won at drama school for sword fighting back in 1997. So I'm going to put this next to my sword fighting trophy, and yeah, your support and everything you do online and bothering to vote really matters to me. So thank you.
Thank you so much for being a part of this. Okay.
That is beautiful.
I'm so glad you like it. Brilliant. Yeah, he's weightlifting. That's what Venice is for. You're learning.
Does this mean that I can jump the line at the airport now?
No, but you know what? They're going to take it away from you at security, so wrap it good.
It is nice, thank you.
Okay. Should I do an out? I don't know. This was pretty good. Okay,
Yeah.
ready? I'm sweating. I don't know why you. It's hot. Wait, hey, wait a minute. False start. False start.
All right.
Go back. He cheats.
Ready?
Cheater. Ready? Wait a minute. We need the gun.
We got chord problems. There we go.
On your mark,
Okay.
get set. Wait a minute.
Okay.
I'll say. Cheats. Boland.
What am I going to say? What do I have to
This
say?
is Richard Armitage.
This is Richard Armitage. You're
you're
watching the Anglophile channel, whoever they are. And she's the best interviewer in the world.
From the horse's mouth.
God,
There you go.
thank you. Thank you for giving me least popular actor of 2013. Thank you.
Well, everybody, we hope you enjoyed that interview. It was fantastic to finally talk to Richard Armitage in person, in the flesh. He was amazing. He was graceful. He was gorgeous. Everything that you all expect him to be. I want to thank especially the British Consulate for hosting us here tonight, especially Bernadette Green. Thank you so much for your gracious hospitality and for accepting us into your offices. This would not have happened without you. Thank you all for watching the Anglophile Channel. All righty.
Want to sign the posters?
Awesome. Yes, would you sign? I'm gonna find some way to send this back to her in
Can I draw
Malaysia.
some glasses on it?
Would you?
Here you go.
Yeah, tears maybe.
Oh, lovely.
There you go.
Lovely indeed.
Little lippy stick.
Shall I just write my name?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
Now
She'll
we
like
got
that.
the medium-sized one. The large one we're going to
This
drop
is the
from
super
the side
size.
of the building. And then you just want to put it where it is. For your parting gifts, if you could. These are all for you.
I've got to eat these.
Immediately.
Yeah, Marlise?
We got extra dry, and then we have more extra dry.
That looks really
And
I
then we have
slaved
lemon.
all night
Did you
long
make these?
making these things
Did you
for
make
you.
these buns? These buns here?
That's
Did
right.
you make them?
Listen.